Hello and welcome to Rick Martin's tutorial on texturing a sword in Blender 2.5 Alpha 0. Now first off we want our sword, so we'll delete this cube. Now I'm going to append the sword, so I'm going to import it in. That's because I didn't save my Blender 2.5 sword. I just saved my old Blender sword. Now I clicked on the sword.blend. Now we want to go down to Object, not Mesh. Go into Object, select the cube, and then Link Append. And there we have our sword. We'll click on it. We'll change the view to a front view. Now if we render, we have our nice sword. Now it's a little dark, so hit F11 to exit the render. We're going to go to a top view. That's 7 on your number pad. Now we're going to select the light, hit G, bring it in front of our sword. Now if we render, our sword's nice and lit up. Go back to our front view, select our sword. Now we hit Tab to go into edit mode. Now down here at the bottom, we want to change our select mode from vertice select to face select. And the other option is edge select, but we want face select. Hit A to unselect everything, C to bring up our circle select. Now if you notice, each of the faces have a little black dot in the middle of the face. That's what you select. You select the black dot, select the faces. Now we want our blade. Now we want to put that blade put a material onto that blade and a texture. So we go into materials. Now we want to change the mode to from data to object. Then we want to add a new material. Hit the new button. Now we want to go back to data. Hit new. And then we want a new texture. Mustn't forget to assign the vertices to this texture, or this material rather. Now if we render, our blade is a little bit of purplish. That's because we have the cloud texture on it right now. We'll change that to a color. Go over to materials, use nodes. Now we want to change this to the node editor. So we go down to this little square, change to node editor. We want to select materials, and if we render now, we'll get a checkerboard pattern because that's the default material in nodes in the node editor. So actually what we want to do is select that and delete it. Now we go down to add, color, composite RGBA. Move this over it, and then link the color. Oh, to click the button to link the color to the color. Now it's black by default, so we can either type in a value 1, or we can scroll. We want to scroll all of them to 1. Now that'll give us a nice silver texture. Can't really tell right now because the rest of the sword is still the default color, which is very close to the silver texture. Now we'll go back to material, go back to the 3D view, unselect the faces, and we're going to select the hilt. going to go into object mode, create a new material, go back to data mode, create new, go to material, new, use node. Now we're going to go ahead and make our next material. We'll first assign before we leave, and now go back to object mode, select a new material, go back to data mode. You want the new material, new texture, use nodes, A to unselect. You can bring up your box select if you like using that. Go back to material, okay, we're going to assign. Now we'll go into our node editor. Now this should be our hilt. Now we don't want the checkerboard pattern, so we'll delete that. Add, color, composite RGBA. Just play around with it a bit, just make sure it's... Now we want to have it black, which is good. Now we'll change to the last texture, the handle. Now we'll delete our checkerboard. Add. Now we do want a little bit of a texture to it. We'll try out wood. Now we want to add a color. We'll add a composite RGBA. Connect this color to color 1. Now we want red about halfway, and then 1 for the rest. Oh, we don't have our color connected. Let's see the preview of it. We'll go with thin. We want a red color to it. Now we want to add a second color to... Actually, that black will probably do. We'll have a look at our sword. Gives the handle a little bit better look to it. And there you have it. You have a sword, texture sword in Blender.